it's Will.
And James. This is our recap for Amazing Race Season 33, Episode 8, Souvlaki. As always, we are so excited to recap episode of Season 33, and we're so excited to do it today because we have some amazing teams joining us, not only from our season, but also from Season 33. It's pretty much like a pink team explosion,
yes.
I'll have to say. So let's go ahead and add, I would say, probably the most loved team in Amazing Race history. You all know them as the Blonde Bandits, Haley and Kaylynn.
Thank
Hi,
you so
y'all.
much.
Great.
Thanks for
introduction.
joining
We
us
so
again.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thanks for
Of
having us. We're
course.
so excited to be here.
I know we've been spoiled with all this time with you guys.
I know.
I love it.
And we're so excited because we have Lulu and Lala joining us as well.
We love them.
This is so fun. I'm so glad
It
we're all
is.
here.
I know. Team Pink representing.
We're wearing pink in honor for both of
Yes.
your teams.
Oh,
Love
that's
you guys.
I
sweet.
know. I wish we were wearing
I
pink.
know, y'all
Messed
are
up.
visions in pink.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're so excited to talk about this episode. Before we really dive into the recap, I know we got to interview you on Thursday, Lulu and Lala, but
Yep.
because we have you here, we wanted to ask for, the viewers watching, what was like the journey like for y'all getting onto the Amazing Race? Like, what was the casting process? Were you super fans? Start from the very beginning.
Yeah. We were always huge fans of The Amazing Race. I mean, it's a multi-Emmy nominated show. And so traveling the world and racing, we always loved that concept. So and I remember watching, I'm like, my God, I think we would be good at this. Like, this is fun. It's not like keyword think. It's not like, these reality shows where people are just like making out and it's the drama with the he said, she said. This is actually like fun. You're traveling, you're doing things that you probably wouldn't do on a regular basis. So we just found it to be very interesting and entertaining. So we were approached and they were like, would you guys be interested? And we were like, hell yeah. And so you had to go to we still had to audition, and that was pretty interesting. We were flown to LA. You go through multiple producers, they ask questions, and then but you never really know what they're looking for. And we're just ourselves. Like, what you saw is how we are, Even in our recap, we end up kind of fighting. And that's how it is. And we're just always wondering, like, was that good enough? Like, what are they looking for? And throughout the whole process, we're looking at other teams and we're kind of sizing them up, and I'm like, are they part of it, or are they just here on vacation? Could they be a possible team? We don't know. So I thought it was a lot of fun, just the whole process. Everybody was so nice, really. So once we got the okay, then we were like, oh, woo-hoo! Now we got to start training because we're so clueless. And it was like, hey, this is for real. Like, this is no joke. What are we packing? Like, what do we do now? And that was pretty tricky because, the heavier your bag, the more difficult it's for you because you have to be running with it. We saw some YouTube videos of past contestants that they said what you should really bring, and we took their advice, but I still think that we overpacked. Yeah.
Did you ever measure how heavy your backpacks were? On our season, we found like a scale in one of the places, and we all measured our backpacks. Did y'all ever weigh yours?
I think we did. And the bag alone, I think, was like 10 pounds. It was like 5 pounds. With nothing in it. It was big. Yeah. And then we put all the crap in, and we put everything inside Ziploc bags. So all of our socks, shirts, everything. I want to say it was like 20 pounds. Yeah, 20 pounds.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah. Ours was like 25.
I feel like just listening to you girls, it was just us talking in the mirror. That was our exact same situation.
Yep.
Like, watching the YouTube videos, like, okay, we got to get ready now. We got to train. This is getting serious. That was the exact same with us.
Everything in the Ziploc bag.
Yeah, mine was 26 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, I got to shed some
my
shit.
God.
Yeah, we were shedding things at every pit stop, just getting rid of things, giving away.
I was like, do you want the straightener? And all the guys were like, you got a straightener? I'm like, yeah.
And then when we came back the second time around, we're like, we definitely overpacked. Let's leave some stuff. But then what we took out in like clothing, we brought in like alcohol, little swabs, and Advil and vitamins in case we got COVID. We had like all like the vitamins we needed to take. So it really, we thought we got rid of a lot of stuff, but we ended up with the same weight. Yeah, it was the
different
same weight.
types of stuff. Yeah. When we were prepping for the race, we were like, looking for people who might be doing it too, and we started running with our backpacks in our neighborhood. And then all of a sudden one day we're running and there's this other couple running with their backpacks,
and so we were like, no way.
Oh my god, are they going to be on the race with us?
They never were.
No, they weren't, but it was just the weirdest thing to see other people also running with backpacks on in the neighborhood.
Oh my gosh. Y'all inspire people. People are like, this is a new trend. I'm going to do it too.
Yeah, that's genius.
Add some weight, and just run with your backpack. Unbelievable. Well, we're so glad y'all were on this season of Amazing Race. It was such a joy to watch you two. And like you said, you guys are just true to who you are. And I think that's what made you so fun to watch. You were very relatable. And you got to run 8 legs of Amazing Race.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because in our job, there's only one person, 2 people, our boss, and then one of the producers for the afternoon show that knew, because he was going to be taking over some of the stuff that we do in radio, like certain things. So he, the guys we work with, they're like our big brothers. So he was like, well, please don't be the first eliminated. Otherwise, you're never going to live it down. We're going to make sure to like poke fun. So we always had that in the back of our heads. Like, we cannot be the first eliminated. Well, let's just make it to the second leg and we'll be fine, because we knew it was going to be hard. It wasn't going to be a walk in the park. But to get to 8 legs, I think, that's not bad. Yeah, I think we did better than we anticipated. So we always somewhat felt like the underdogs, even when they do those pre-interviews before you go off. You know how they take you to the location and the interview? We always kind of felt that way. Well, I mean, you had Anthony and Spencer, and you have Dusty and Ryan, who are so physically fit. And then Akbar's huge. Penn is super tall, and he looks fit. So it's like, we're kind of like all looking at each other, and we're like, this is going to be tough. But and Raquel and Kayla, they're tough too. Yeah, they were.
Oh, definitely.
So,
I felt like that too with our season. We had Lavon and Kelly, the Olympians.
Right.
We had Madison and Riley, Will and James, D'Angelo and Gary, that we were always like, oh my God, we are in over our heads. And then that was the same with us. Our mom was like, don't go out first, because obviously she was like, don't go out
that was her one thing. She's like, you just can't get out first.
So
girl.
every time we would land at the pit stop, we'd be like, oh my God, we're still here. So we'd always go to the hotel room afterwards and be like, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. You shock yourself when you're out there. And it like definitely shows you what you're made of every single time.
Yes, that's something we took away. Like, you realize how strong you are physically, mentally, and emotionally, because it will test you a whole lot. It tested us
in every way possible.
Yep.
You see,
is there one challenge that you feel like you were surprised that you were able to do, or that made you really proud of doing it?
For me, go ahead.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed.
For me, I think it was in Corsica when we had to do the knots of the tying knots in the I can't think of the word of the net.
Yep.
Yeah, the fishing net. Because my dad had taught us to do different types of knots and how to break them apart just in case. So it was very like the knots were so little and it was very tedious. And for me to have been able to do it, I just felt so proud. When I saw it, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be tough. For me, it was climbing Mount St. Tise. That was so high up. I never saw myself mountain climbing. And I mean, there was like goats all over the place. And it was so high. I'm asthmatic. I didn't think I was gonna do it that fast. I mean, I was right behind Ryan. And I was like, wow, I'm accomplished. Like I got up here. The views were great, but that was really one of my favorite. Yeah, I'm surprised she did it as fast. Not that I doubted you, but I do know of her asthma. So at one point I begin to worry. I'm like, is she gonna like faint and then fall off this mountain? Because I remember seeing the struggle. Coming back, I was struggling. Yeah, I was struggling, but Good job, Lou.
Thanks. No, y'all had some really hard challenges.
Yeah.
Both of those challenges looked really hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the mountain
and
was
then,
scary too.
Of course, the souvlaki. That's where I felt defeated. Out of everything that we did, the souvlaki for me, and I know it's like delicious.
It is delicious.
But when you don't like something and you have to like swallow it down, like your
Twice.
body even's rejecting it. Like, no, don't put this inside me.
That's what happened with me and the beignets on our season. Like my body was like, stop eating them.
Before we recap episode 8, Callie in the live chat wants to know for Lulu and Lala, what's your favorite country you traveled to on The Amazing Race?
Oh, by far, Switzerland. I mean, Lugano was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
The views, the architecture, it was so clean. The country, like the people, just
The guys were
everything. Driving down, the scenery, the cleanliness.
Yeah.
We're here in the tri-state in New York City and Jersey and stuff. You see
There's a
garbage.
difference.
You see garbage. There's a difference over there. It's just, to me, the entire time we were in Switzerland, it's like
peaceful. We were at
peace.
peace. Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
And
I want to go retire there.
Switzerland, the air is so crisp. Like just breathing, it feels so just fresh.
And the water is delicious.
The water, yeah. It was
Like they were like, don't drink the
encouraging.
bottled water, drink the
tap
tap water.
Oh,
That's how good it
wow. I loved
Wow.
always seeing you be like, oh, you have beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like in heaven. I'm like, I
wasn't-
can't.
And I was like embarrassed. I'm like, can we focus on the race?
I loved it. It was so
That
funny.
would have been me for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, good times.
Well, for this episode, y'all traveled to Greece. And what's very different about this season, as we all know, is that you have a chartered flight that takes you from country to country. And I know before we went live, y'all were talking about how you never really knew where you were going. What were some of the challenges in that compared to like on our seasons? We got to at least research where we were going prior to even arriving.
Yeah. You see us right there and then, like that visual that you put us walking into Big Phil. We were all already anxious because we're like, where are we traveling? We were trying to guess.
Yes.
Where are we?
And
What are we doing?
the flight attendants, the steward, they're told not to tell us. So they knew because I tried talking in Spanish so that nobody would know. Because there was one that spoke Spanish and she's like, I'm like, no, it's like, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I'm not going to
So
say
inside
anything.
the plane, we were all kind of like
Looking out the window.
looking out, trying to see if we recognized anything. And that really kind of messes with your mind because now you're like, where are we? We don't have any research because since we're flying private, we'd get to the airport, but they'd hold us in a certain place where you couldn't run and get like little flyers or pamphlets or maps or anything like that. So we're like, we're so unprepared. We don't know what country we're in. And that experience, a lot of people were like, oh, you got to fly private. I kind of wish we hadn't.
I mean, it was nice. You have the seats and then,
It was luxury.
it was luxury.
I'm not complaining. But at the same time, it's like, I am not prepared for this next leg.
There was one point where we thought we were going to Spain. I think we're the only ones that knew how to speak, read it, and write it. So everyone's like, okay, well, if this happens,
twins,
and we started feeling pressure. I'm like, oh my God, everyone's going to be asking us, and we really have to prove
Show
that our Spanish is really going to help us in this next leg. But yeah, we ended up, it was Greece where we ended up.
Yeah. But that, I think that was the biggest challenge where you just
Don't know.
really messed with your mind. You're like, oh, what do we do?
Crazy. That to me, even like thinking about not knowing where you're going, and we did so much research before flying to a place that uncertainty and that lack of control a little bit would be
I would feel very disoriented.
overwhelming.
I
Yeah.
feel.
Oh,
Yeah, you are at a disadvantage with that because even when we would go to the airports and we would see Will and James at a computer in a store, we would sneak in after them and we'd go onto their history.
They would have deleted it.
We're like, they're so good.
That's
So
right.
we were at an advantage because we could ask the locals and we could just get so much knowledge. So that's like, which one are you going to choose? Comfort over being prepared.
And also we had to stay away, have our masks on from people at the airport. Like we couldn't just run up to people. Like I said, they had us
In a
contained.
bubble. I do
Yeah.
remember one time when we were waiting for
like the crew to get their cameras and whatnot, I found like a booklet
Oh, that's right.
of like Greece. And I'm like, we're in Greece. And I took it and I like hid it under. And then I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. And I remember running to the bathroom, taking it out and stuffing it in my bag. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to read this when I get to the hotel room. I'm going to see what I could find, anything that really stands out. Yeah. And I think
So
the only one that saw me do that was Ryan. Ryan picked up on it, kind of kept it low key, and we kind of like locked eyes, like, oh, he's like, yeah, I saw what you did. I'm about to go do the same thing.
You're like,
I'm not gonna say
about that.
We're like spies.
Sneaky. Well, once you land and you were in the second departure group, teams had to go to the olive trees to find their next clue. And this was actually kind of like a comedic moment with how many teams like didn't notice that there was a ladder nearby, but it was so funny to watch how everyone's creativity came into play on how they were going to even retrieve that clue. Like Raquel and Kayla doing some acrobats here on Amazing Race. Y'all ended up finding the ladder, didn't you?
Yes, we actually. First of all, I thought that Kayla and Raquel were hilarious. Like it brought so much joy to me to see them just have fun and go through that, because that's something that we would have done had I not seen
the ladder.
The ladder. As soon as I saw the ladder, I'm like, it's up on the tree. And I saw it immediately, and we're like, do we say anything to the guys?
Or do we just
Keep it to ourselves
and leave and let them, keep wandering through the trees?
Yeah. But we saw the ladder, and I'm like, Lala, let's go. I'm gonna rip it. And I got it. And then I thought, karma, if I don't say anything, they've been so nice and helpful, I have to. It's just in our nature. And so we told the guys, hey, look up, it's on the tree, and look for the ladders. It's probably nearby.
Yeah. And they found it pretty quick. And then we started running to the car, and we're like, do we just go or do we wait? Because we all know what happened when this one waited. But then we figured it's going to be driving. Let's just stick together because, we could get lost and then trail behind. So we figured it's better to just stay with one another rather than drive. And
so we waited for them as well. We're like, let's all just go.
Clearly we didn't learn from our mistake, but it worked to our advantage because we got to Mariana's at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes having one other team in sight, I feel like relieves a little bit of pressure because at least you're not like too far behind. That was always one of our rules, is always make sure there's at least one team within our radius.
Right. And it definitely does help, because when you're alone and you're wondering, like, how are we in the front? Are we in the back? Somewhere in the middle? That also messes with your mind.
And so
that's the worst feeling ever.
We had it the whole time.
Yeah, we were always so low.
Oh yeah.
We would be like, we have not seen the team, any team
for hours.
All day.
Yeah.
All day. Like
Hold on. There was one time, girls, where we didn't see you for a week.
That's how it felt.
I know.
There were days when we were like, I don't know where they are.
We're back.
Oh, it's always, we're back.
Yeah, once it's funny because once everyone gets to the pit stop, that's the only time where you kind of know who made it, and so you're just waiting around, like, oh, there's the green team, oh, the red team came, like, and then you're like, who's missing? What color?
Yeah,
what color isn't here yet?
Yep,
so funny.
Well, as you mentioned, you went to Mariana's to do the roadblock, which I thought I really enjoyed this task because I would have wanted to eat one. But y'all had to wrap Dolmas, 60 of them, and present them to Mariana for her approval in order to get your next clue. But there's obviously a trick to this, and that was just paying attention to how she was doing it, what the demonstration was, to know was it the stem or the way the veins were on the leaf?
Yeah. Yes, the veins inside, the veins of the leaves had to be inside, so that when you fold it, it's nice and smooth on the outside. And first of all, it smelled so good, and we were so hungry. I wanted to just start like eat as I fold, but I didn't even know if that was allowed. But it was easy. But again, the way that you folded them, you had to be very neat about it, and also the way it was lined up. Everyone was doing like rows of like 4 or 5, and really it was just, I think it was 2 or 3 rows of like 10.
I don't know, because I didn't.
Yeah, that's what it was. And luckily, as I was folding, I'm like, let me go check it out again. Let me really see. Let me really pay attention. And that's when I realized how she had it lined up, and I had to go back and fix it. And then with the veins, I did,
know that some were wrong, but I was hoping that she wouldn't notice. So I went to present it thinking like, she's not going to notice. She's going to let me go. She noticed. And then that's why I had to go back and fix like 15 of them. And then that's when Ryan got it, not Ryan, Dusty, I didn't panic because I knew that I was almost done. I was just fixing them. It was nerve-wracking sitting downstairs, not being able to see them, because in different challenges, you at least you get to see what your partner is doing. This time around, you're kind of like, what's going up there? We weren't allowed up, and you could just hear certain stuff. You know, Dusty was very quiet, which was kind of like nerve-wracking because he's always been so animated, and to see him so quiet, that made me nervous. But then you knew when he got it, the whole country knew that he got it.
You said at least he's being quiet. Which one was it? One of you girls that said that, or was it Raquel?
I said that. I'm like, well, this
Yeah,
has been quiet.
I how long did it take you to do the wrapping them? Because I mean, obviously one thing about the race is that when you're watching, you never really know how long challenges take.
Right.
How long did it take you to do the wrapping?
For me, I think it was a good like 20 minutes.
I think it was like a half an hour.
It seemed longer watching
it was longer.
I think maybe 20 to 30.
It was 30, Lala.
30 minutes.
It felt like it was long.
She's like, I sat for 30 minutes.
Because when you're in it, you're just like folding stuff.
I think it might have been even longer. I want to say 30, if not maybe 40, 45, because we were there.
Arun actually did it really fast. I mean, he does work in the restaurant business. So when I saw him get here, I'm like, this is his field. He is going to be quick at it. And he was, because we all saw that he left before Raquel. So, but he was in the stand right next to me. And I remember he's always so positive, the most positive man that I've met, which I appreciate. He was just, doing his thing. Like this was second nature to him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to do it.
And it was time consuming. It was something that was attention to detail. And I have to say it was like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. My regret is not taking one and eating it in the car. I should have taken a few of them.
Yeah, take a snack for the road. I felt so bad for Raquel though, because I feel like with a roadblock, there's that added pressure. You don't want to let your teammate down. But then when you're not getting it, like every time Mariana kept pulling them off the plate, I could just feel like how frustrating that must have been for Raquel. It's like, all you to do is pay attention to the demonstration. But in the moment, sometimes you don't really pay attention or you just don't really focus on what's being done. And so then you start to get in your head and it starts to make you make more mistakes. I felt so bad for Raquel.
I remember she kept saying, but what am I doing wrong? Like she kept looking. And obviously Mariana's not going to tell you. She's kind of just standing there like, the souvlaki lady. Well, she was just like, no.
She's like, nope.
Can't say anything. And then we're all very busy. There was a part of me that wanted to say something, but I'm like, just focus on you, run your race and get those little suckers folded and just go. But yeah, it is. I know what it's like to like
let your partner down.
Oh yeah.
So was it on the way from this roadblock to the souvlaki stand? Was that when you guys took a wrong turn, or what happened on the way to the souvlaki?
This is where it all went downhill. Because
first of all, the road signs are in Greek, obviously, and their alphabet is very different. There's a lot of symbols and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so we were confused. I always navigate, and I am pretty good at navigating.
She is.
In the States, though, not in a country foreign to me, and I don't know the stuff. So it had said, pass the stop sign and then make a left, and the C is going to be on your left. There was like 5 stop signs. So I'm like, which one is it? Is it the first? Is it the second? I don't know. And so we kind of went into a gas station just to make sure. And that's where we realized, wow, what a language barrier. He didn't speak English. We didn't speak Greek. And
it was just impossible. Even with the phone, I remember writing it and they're looking at it like,
understand it.
I don't know what this is.
He lent me his phone and his phone was in Greek. And so how do I translate? How do I type it into the phone if I don't know what the alphabet or like how to even spell it? It was so hard. And I felt like such a dummy, like an airhead. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I cannot believe it. We finally got into the main road,
Right, where it was like a cute little town. There was like little restaurants or whatever, and we asked like a group of men. They were quick to reject us. Then we go, well, you know what it's like. If they don't want to help you, they don't want to be on camera, then you got to keep moving. And that's what happened to us. We must have asked like 4 or 5 different people, and nobody wanted to help. Mostly guys. So then we start thinking, are we being disrespectful? Like, should women not go up to men in this part of the country? Type of thing. So we're like, let's start looking for women. There was no women around, but there were kids, and we're like, is this legal? Can we ask can we ask kids? We don't know how old they are. If they're like 13, 14, like I feel uncomfortable. The pushback was kind of odd for me because we're friendly, but then I'm like, well, we're twins. It could be like a freak show running up to somebody with a camera. Like, I get it. I understand if the the pushback. And then even the camera crew realized what was going on. They're like, let's go somewhere. Like, let's just go somewhere else. So then we finally found teenagers that were like 17, 18, I want to say. Hopefully. It was tough to communicate, but I think they figured it out. And they kept signaling like, down that way, just keep going down that way. So we did that. But the problem was that when we kept going, it was like a deserted beach. There was nobody around, and then on both sides there was like nothing. So in my head, it didn't make sense because we're like, why would a food truck be in a place where there's nobody? But then I forgot it's The Amazing Race. Duh. Like, that was stupid. So at that point, we're like, we passed it. Let's go back. Let's turn the car around and go back because we have to have passed it. And that's when we got to the pit stop, because to get to the pit stop, there's like a beach, and then a little further down, the pier's there. So we're like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Like, maybe we're overcomplicating it, like how Penn did inside the mailroom when he had the clue and he overthought it. Maybe we're like, this is it, and then there's gonna be some other leg or something. Well, when we saw Phil, it looked like we got all the way to the map, but we never did. We ran down halfway to the pier, realized it was the pit stop, and then we ran back. The edit was a little different. So we went halfway to the pier. I yelled to Phil, I'll see you in 5 minutes. Literally, it was probably like 5 hours after that I saw him. And I told Lala, I'm like, this is the pit stop. It can't be it. We ran back. And so that's where we saw Kim and Penn. Yeah, we saw Kim and Penn. And that's where I knew, I'm like, oh my God, we're so far behind. The fact that they've already finished the race and we haven't even started. We haven't even gone to the second.
Dang.
Wow.
That is far behind. So they were Kim and Penn had already gone to the pit stop and were done with the interviews.
Straight chilling is what Kim and Penn were doing. They were done.
They're just sitting back, legs up, like they did it. They breezed through.
That sounds like us
worst
in India.
feeling.
When we came back from India, the last challenge for us was to like be in your horse and buggy and drive to the palace. What was that we went to? The High Garden or
Yeah, Taj Falak Numa.
Yeah. It was not very. Should be memorable for us because that's where we got knocked out. But when we were driving through, we realized how late we were because we saw 3 different teams, right, sitting
getting
down,
their interviews,
already doing their interviews, and we're like, oh my God, we still have a whole nother challenge. And we had these little funny hats on, and we were waving to Riley and Madison, like, hey guys, and they were done the interview, and then we go up and we realized that they just yielded us, and we're like, they should feel so bad that we were in those cute little hats. And they waved at us.
But it's a blow to the stomach, right? When you kind of realize, like,
you're done.
Yeah. And I could see in Kim's face, because I didn't get to see Penn, but I did see Kim, and I could see in her face, like, oh my God, like she felt like she felt bad for us. Yeah,
she did.
Yeah, she's like, y'all are screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. And so we just said our goodbyes there. We're like, see you later. And then we just continued with the race. We just, found our way to the Souvlaki place. And man, looking back at that where the clue was on. When we were driving to the truck, right, we see Raquel and Kayla heading to the pit stop.
Oh, that's right.
And so when I saw Raquel, I don't know if they saw us, but when I saw them driving, I'm like, Lala, Raquel was last and she's coming to the pit stop.
This is no bueno.
This is not good.
Well, y'all were you all at, when you were doing the souvlaki chats, you were there at the same time as Arun and Natalia, right? Or is that just
no? There was nobody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We
Oh
were
my
there by
gosh.
ourselves.
Literally.
And
we know that feeling all too
Yeah.
well, ladies.
And it was so obvious looking at the episode, but when you're there, the most obvious things, you know, you're blinded to it. And so
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
remember watching past seasons where I'm like, oh my God, how did I not see it? Like, it's common sense.
Obviously.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then when you're in it, it's totally different. Like
Yep.
I had the damn clue in my hands and didn't realize it.
And that actually, we wasted time there because we ran all over that beach trying to ask people, how do you spell Souvlaki? I'm not the best speller. I've never been. I don't claim to be, especially Slovakia. I don't know. And so we asked everybody on that beach.
And they gave us wrong information. Like even the people there didn't know how to spell Slovakia.
Yeah.
They didn't show that. We'd go, we're like, yes, we got it. We tell her, nope, that's not it. So I'm like,
You just Googled it for us. What do you mean it's not it?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, the way she
That's
said it,
so
like
rough.
the way she said it, if I wasn't looking at the screen when they put up, the word at the bottom, it sometimes sounded like she was saying souvlaki, like with
Yes.
an H. So
Yeah.
when you
It
spelled
did.
it with an H, I was like, that makes sense because, like, is it phonetically? Is that how the right
Yeah.
word? It sounds like
Yeah.
she's saying H
It did.
Right.
when she says souvlaki. Like, I was just like, I can see how that trip up happened because it does sound like she's saying an H.
yeah, they don't show the many times that we tried to spell it. It was, we did CH, SH. It was at one point.
X. What is it? Because in Brazil, in Portuguese, sometimes they use the X for the sh
Yeah,
type of
for the
sound.
sh.
And so I'm like, I'm throwing all these letters in here, and it wasn't it. And then I want to say that took us like an hour and a half trying to figure out how to spell it.
Wow.
We finally find a lady walking her dog on the beach.
Who didn't even want to deal with us, but I guess she saw the desperation in our face where she kind of felt bad for us, but she kind of gave us a little like,
Yeah, like
I don't want
step
any
back.
part of it.
But she finally gave us the right spelling, and then that's when
Then came the eating of the Slovakia.
Oh, girl.
Yeah. Marsha in the live chat is asking, how was the taste of souvlaki itself?
I'm pretty sure that the taste
The taste was delicious. It was the first time I ever have Souvlaki. I really don't like onions or tomatoes. I'm very picky. But the combination was really good. I enjoyed it. I felt bad for Lala.
okay, they don't show, but she grabbed the thing and it was like a pound of raw onions. Like the
Ooh,
only thing I
that's a lot
saw
of
was onion. It was like a pita bread with
Yeah.
onions. To me, that's what it was. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to eat this. I mean, you could see the tears. And then I could, people were around, kind of like, you know how sometimes people just stand around to see what's going on. I felt
yeah.
embarrassed and stupid. And
She was in a mood as well, in a fact where,
First of all, I was
to
dying
eat-
to pee. My bladder was hurting so much because I had held my pee all day. So I was already like in pain for my bladder.
Yeah.
And then eating that, and then, you gag and you throw up. And I don't mean to be disgusting, but everyone's had that hangover where you throw up and it comes out of your mouth and nose.
Yes.
Oh, the worst.
Things. It's the worst. So I went through that and I'm like, I was such in a bad mood. And then to have to eat it.
Yeah,
all
once she
over
was in
again.
a bad mood, I know Lala, I know my twin sister, and once she's in that mood, it's kind of like just step back as far back as you can and just let her be.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was like, Lala, let me do all the eating, even though I have the sensitive stomach. Let me do the eating, and I'll take care of it. But it just wasn't.
I
in the-
wasn't trying to be disrespectful to the Greek community with,
the
kinda
Souvlaki.
with the Slovakia, because I never want to offend anybody. But if I don't like it, I don't like it.
So, would you ever eat it again? Maybe without the onion.
Actually, 2 days ago, actually on Thursday, I went to a Greek place and I ordered one with no onions. And I took a bite, and that's all I did. I just had a bite, and I'm like, no.
I finished the rest of it. It was really good. I also felt kind of in Jersey. There's so many Greek restaurants, and of course the Tri-State in New York City. And a lot of people hit us up like, "You really have never had Greek food?" I'm like, "What type of representation of Jersey is that?" And I'm like, "Oops."
I gotta ask, was there a vegetarian option of the souvlaki at the stand or no? They wouldn't modify it.
I don't remember.
I didn't even think to ask.
Yeah, because I
didn't even think to
Raquel
ask.
is vegetarian.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the way her souvlaki
Vegan.
looked, it almost looked like it wasn't meat in it. So I thought for a second, I was like, oh, maybe they modify it for anyone who has like an eating restriction. But
Perhaps I didn't even ask.
Yeah, I didn't even think to that. But I do know that Raquel, she eats. Yeah, so they probably modified it for her, which
yeah.
I think was the
The fair thing to do.
But
Yeah.
for me, we didn't even.
That's
know
a
what
good question.
Yeah.
Didn't even pop in my head. Very good.
Maybe it would have been easier for me to eat.
oh my goodness.
And so-
go ahead.
So the Slovakia, right? We eat it, and we kept reading the clue
Over and
over
over.
and over. Like, what are we not getting? Like, I felt so stupid. Like, I felt like an idiot. And so we parked the car in front of a sign that said no parking, and we thought, that's it. That's what it is. Let's get back in our car, move it, park it in the right way, run back, and maybe they'll give us the clue.
Oh my
we have to
gosh.
follow the
Like, you have
rules.
to overanalyze everything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
ate food from the floor.
That's right, because we made a mess. So there was a bunch of like food on the floor. So we're like, we have to leave it clean the way that we found it.
So I picked up and I ate it. Instead of throwing it in the garbage like any other human being, I decided to eat it. And then the lady was like, no.
Wow.
And I remember just looking around like, what is this? So then I thought, I got it. We ate it wrong. There's a specific way I should have done it. So let's start from scratch. Let's start from the beginning and just have another one. And this time we'll eat it the right way.
But Dimitri, that was the woman name. I could tell in
she
her
didn't
face,
want to give us another one.
and she actually denied, like, no, don't ask me for one, because she felt really bad, and I think she was trying to like give
Help
us
us?
a clue, and we were just so not.
Like it went right over our head.
The frustration was not letting us see what she was trying to tell us.
Needless to say, we had another Slovakia. That's when she just broke
just-
down and started crying. And then I finished most of it. And then we realized, oh, the clue's been in our hand the entire time. Duh.
Oh my gosh.
That was
Our
like 2
new
hours
Ned-
right there.
Oh my
wants to know,
gosh.
did the clue say that you would get your next clue after eating the souvlaki? Was it worded differently than other clues?
The way it was worded was, after she gives you the Slovakia, she will have given you everything that you need
To get the next clue.
to get to your next
Destination
yes,
or whatever.
that's all. So I'm
I
like,
can promise you that we would have thrown it away too.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think we
Oh,
would.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, every team struggled with it when you watch the episode.
Yeah.
Everyone threw it away,
Yeah.
or they were confused to what the next clue is supposed to
Mhm.
be. So I think that's one of those moments in the race where they're intentionally trying to slip up every team. And it was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was TV.
And it
was fun
always
to watch.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it always works. Yeah.
Yeah. Your adrenaline's going and you lose all like sense of rational thinking.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you read the clue and it says enable your horns, and you're like, oh my god, I just took the whole truck apart.
Yeah.
And redid it because I thought the dice weren't facing the right way.
And the whole time I was
Yeah.
like horns.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like we would move the bobblehead in our truck because like the bobblehead's not moving.
Oh,
Like,
dang.
Yeah.
And then I broke the bobblehead.
Yeah.
The whole head popped up. I was like, that's it. We're never gonna leave
Ugh.
here. Broke the clue.
all those little details. Well, the
Yep.
next roadblock you had to do, I felt like was very detail focused. You had to put together, well, first you had to hear a 15-minute sermon from a Greek Orthodox priest that would list facts about 10 saints, and then you would be asked 5 questions by a vendor with saint icons, and then you would have to pick the correct icons in order to receive your next clue. I mean, Penn made this look so effortless. It
Yep.
was quite impressive. I mean, I loved how he talked about ADHD and how there's a superpower with that when it came to hyper focus. I was so impressed with just how
Yeah.
he like breezed through that with no issues. But then Ryan, on the other hand, was so funny. I don't know why he was so fixated on the number 5, but he's like, oh, 5 minutes of listening to saints, 5 saints. I'm going to go do it. And he went to go do it. And I just thought that was so funny because I was like, why are you so fixated on the 5? Was there anything in the clue that told you how long the sermon was going to be?
No. So the
Nope.
clue said you had to listen to the sermon and then go pick out the saints, but they didn't say how many saints the priest was going to talk about. And so initially I thought, oh, 5, like Ryan, I'm going to listen to the 5 and then I'm going to run off and see. And the table had like a bunch of them to confuse you, right? And so when I was listening to it,
I thought the same. I'm like, I'm going to listen to 5, but then he kept going. And so I'm like, oh, there's more. And so I listened to the second 5, and then it was like 15. I'm like, geez.
Now here's the thing. Like, first of all, I never liked school. Like, at least elementary school, I hated it. When I got to like junior of high school, then I started liking school. But we always kind of hated school.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a race, and you're making me use my brain in a way that I don't want to use it. Like, what is this?
Especially after the Souvlaki incident.
And it was so hot. So we know that we're behind. And now you're telling me I have to wait 15 minutes and I have to pay attention to this thing. Like, you're kind of like, okay, I'm over here.
And
at
then
this high.
we believe in God, but we're not religious. Like, all these saints, some of them, I had never even heard of, which is
I just didn't
horrible.
know like the technical like
details.
background and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay. So I started listening and then trying to remember little things of the picture with,
The name.
the name. But it was a lot. It was very long. And the priest, he was a very nice guy, but it wasn't like, he wasn't making it easy. Like, it was
A
boring.
lot of info. He was spilling so much information the whole
Yeah.
time.
At that
Did
point,
you have any other teams there at that point, or were you
there was
all
nobody.
Oh.
And I like how when we got to the clue box, they put like more envelopes to make it seem like other teams weren't
Maybe
there.
there's a chance.
Oh no.
They did that to us too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at Lala, and at that point, we already knew. So I told her, Lala,
You could tell.
let's make the most of it. Let's just have fun. We're in Greece. Let's take in the sermon. Let's
While
see
she
what
was
we
taking
got.
the sermon, listening, I was sitting there trying
See
to catch
one.
the end. And she actually did flirt with the priest a little bit, which
No, I
was
was
embarrassing. I'm like, we're going to hell. We're going to go to hell. And then, of course, she's like, you have nice eyes. And I'm like, really? Even to the end? Even
I
to
love
the end?
that. So funny.
Okay, I was friendly to the priest. I didn't want to be disrespectful, Lala.
Right?
I was helping him out too because he was having trouble flipping the pages. So I'm like, let me help you out, dude. I got you. But then when I got to the other guy, I was so distracted. I'm like, hey.
And I could tell she was trying to have a conversation because you could tell with the crew that they're laughing. I'm like, what is she saying? She's got everyone laughing. Like, I'm like, oh my God.
I was trying to see if he'd help me out with the saints because in the episode, it seems like I got it the first time. Hell no, I didn't. It took me like 23 times.
We tried that in India. We were real nice to everybody in India. And at the end, one of the guys was going, there were so many guys that I had to identify the turban. So many. And in the end, they're going, it's not me. And I was like, what? Are you trying to help me? They just had been there for hours waiting on me.
Standing in the heat.
It made it look like I breezed through it, but we were there for like 3 hours.
Yeah, we were there for a long time.
I was like,
Yeah, I was there for a while, and I was not hating the fact that I was staring into these beautiful eyes, but at that point I was like, which one is it, dude? Just tell me. Come on, just tell me. He didn't tell me. I finally got it.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I don't know if I read this somewhere. I feel like Natalia might have posted it in a Facebook group or something. But when we were watching, Will's first thought was there any perk to just going to listen to the questions first? Like listen to like maybe 30 seconds of the sermon and then pretend like you know what you're doing, just so you know what questions are being asked. And I think Natalia had commented that she had listened to it for about 3.5 to 4 minutes before finally going to do the actual quiz itself. And then when she went back, she was able to actually know what saints to listen for and what the questions were, just so that she was able to speed through that task a little bit faster. Was there a rule that was against that or no? Like that to me seems like brilliant strategy.
That
is
brilliant. I should have done that. The rule said listen to the sermon and then go.
But it didn't say.
But it didn't
you had
say
to wait through you had to stand there and listen to
throughout
it
the
all.
whole thing.
You could have just
Right.
gone in and you didn't even have to at this point.
Let me just tell you that at this point we're so far behind, okay, that the second time I came back to listen to the whole thing all over again, one of the production people came up to me and said, you don't have to go through this again. You can just tell him to skip to the one that you want to listen to. At that point, I'm like, I'm just gonna do this all over again and just make sure I get it right the second time.
She was like, no, I'm going to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I was kind of like mad at that point where I'm like, no, everyone's gonna stay under this heat for another 15 minutes because I'm gonna listen to it. And then I went back, and then I stood there staring at the guy for a little bit, just for pure joy for me.
And meanwhile, she's doing that, and the whole time I'm kind of still going, like I'm still having that motion of like, because
Am I
the
gonna throw
taste,
up?
yeah, and the
Oh
poor
my
audience-
God.
and I'm like, I need more water. I need more water.
But that was the smart thing that Natalia did. I again, when you're under the stress and the frustration, you're not thinking logically. That's what everyone should have done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah, I
question never changed.
Yeah.
I think even with like tasks where you're being judged on something, like when we were in Germany for the chicken dance that we did, I was so frustrated and I was so focused on like, I'm never going to get German down. Like if that's what we're being judged on, like we're screwed because I can't get the accent. I can't get the harshness of these words. It's just not going to work. And Will finally was like, let's just do it and see what happens. And while we did it, we realized there were cue cards of the actual, German words. And it was really just like selling it. All you had to do was sell the performance and try to get it as accurate as possible. And we were like, now we know what we need to do. And so we just threw ourselves back into it. So sometimes it's just easier to throw yourself into the judging space to know what you're being judged on, so that when you do go back, you're already kind of prepared and ready to do it.
And that one was extra scary because Bertram was watching that one. He's like, more chicken, more chicken.
And you're just like,
It was so
Yes,
funny.
he was.
It was so
Literally,
entertaining.
yes.
It was fun. That was
Oh
great
yeah,
television.
Big Daddy was watching and making you perform.
that was him bottles.
yeah, he was there for the bottles
Big
too.
Daddy.
And Haley was like, I think we should switch. We're not getting this. Like, let's go to the watermelon challenge. And then Elise comes out of nowhere. And Elise was like, don't do that. Because it was already midnight when we were there in Paraguay. We're like, okay.
Oh my
We'll see here.
But after this, I loved this roadblock. I thought it was actually a really great challenge, and it definitely, I pulled a lot of different elements from the race that I loved. It was a little bit of memorization, a little bit of focus, a little bit of detail. So it was a really well-designed roadblock. After this task, y'all had to make your way to the pit stop, where we noticed that Kim and Penn got their first place of the season, and their third place in a row, but fourth overall the entire season. So they're completely consistent. They're absolutely dominating the race right now.
Oh, y'all look
But then
so
for
cute.
Lulu and Lala,
So cute.
we were so sad. We were so sad that y'all were eliminated from the race.
Yeah.
I know.
I was
running
hoping-
to the pit when we were driving to the pit stop. Lala's like, I think that maybe we're still fourth. Poor little girl. I'm like, no, Lala, we're done. And I remember grabbing her hand while we were running, and I looked at her. I'm like, it was nice racing with you.
And so we raced down, and then I still was hoping that Phil would say, haha, it's a non-eliminating leg, because, since two teams didn't come back, there was always that one leg that we didn't know what they were going to do. So I'm hoping, no, they're going to save us. We didn't get saved. So I'm like, man, I cannot believe that we are out of this race already. I didn't want to go.
I don't think anybody ever wants to be the one not to get to at least, the top 3 or top 2 or win the amazing race. It was bittersweet, but at the same time, I had already made peace with it back at the Souvlaki place. And so I'm like, you know what? It was it's a one in a lifetime opportunity. We made friends for life.
Yeah, we have to be grateful that, we
that we're
even got
on
to
the
race.
show. Exactly. And so I was just very happy. And then I remember telling Phil in production, I'm like, we're going to end it the way that we want, because it was a wrap. And I'm like, no, we're going to redo this. We're going to jump into, get the drum ready. We're going to do this.
And it was so hot. And after everything we had been through, Phil was like, really? You'll jump in the water? This is great. And we're like, yeah, we don't mind. Let's jump in the water.
Let's do this. Let's
do
go out
this.
with a splash.
I loved it.
We demiked ourselves, and Phil's like, all right, this is, you want to do this, let's do it. And so we did it. He was so caring though afterwards. He was like, all right, you guys are good. You're swimming. When you're swimming and you're swimming, like he became like a dad, like make sure you get up on the rock, make sure you don't step on anything you shouldn't.
Yeah, that was great.
She did get a little bit more emotional, Lala.
Because I thought of our parents, with the mortgage, and I thought of my grandmother, and then I thought of like, great, what is work gonna say now when we get back?
I just felt like I had somehow let her down because of the whole navigation. situation where we got lost and it was just like a language barrier. And then I'm like, you know what? It is what it was. It was what it was. And we had a great time doing it. And just, again, very happy and grateful. And
it is what it is. And no, you don't feel bad because of the navigation. There were times where I would tell her, am I making a right or a left? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm on the highway. I don't know is not an answer. I need to know. Otherwise, we're going to just drive into a bush or something, right or left.
oh, yeah. But I mean,
It
we
is
had fun.
Yeah, I have no regrets. We ran it with a great heart. We did the best that we could. And, you know, it's a fun experience that we're going to take on with us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. And I'm just happy we're going to see everybody at the season finale. And
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
March 2nd. Hopefully you guys can all make it.
That's awesome. It's in Hollywood, Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. We're close to Florida.
I know. Maybe
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, come on by. It'll be nice.
I love that y'all left on your terms by like jumping into the water. But
Me too.
that way this episode ended, Will was actually very,
Oh, I was crying.
very emotional, and it was because of the gratitude y'all just expressed at the pit stop. And I think that moment where you just say thank you, and you're saying thank you to Phil and like the production, like I just thought that was a beautiful moment, and I think it says a lot about who y'all are. Like I just thought that was a very sincere moment that, you know, I think everyone who runs the race should be like you two. I mean, like just how appreciative you are, because the way the race is designed and how much work and effort goes into it, it's the best experience you ever have. And so that moment of gratitude was very appreciated, I think, watching it.
Totally.
I'm
agree.
so
you.
I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
that it came. Like we're just so grateful, and you do see all the hard work that the crew goes through, and just making sure hotel wise and when you're eating, and just every single detail is really planned out and thought of.
Yeah.
So just seeing that, we're like, this was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, because so
You
many
are-
people apply to be on the race that get rejected, and here we are. Like, we should not be complaining. We just traveled the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, they don't get enough credit.
They
because
don't.
No,
I
they
mean,
don't.
If
Make
we're
race
running,
be without them.
Yeah.
if we're running to get to the pit stop, they're running even faster
Oh,
to
yeah.
get the
Stay ahead
shot.
of
to
me.
get the shot.
And running backwards.
with the
Yes.
camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so they're really the stars of the show. They make the show.
Yeah.
And
I
so
totally
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
we work in the business, and so we pay attention to all those little details, and just the word thank you doesn't even begin really to just
Yeah.
say how we feel. Just very appreciative.
I
Very
like want to
appreciative.
tag along one season. I'm like, can I just tag
Yeah,
along
it's
with
like
you
what?
guys?
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
will be my vacation. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to hang out and like see everything.
I'll run with an audio pack even, just like, throw it in the next-
Sure.
like
Like imagine getting to do everything y'all got to do without the stress of it. Without
Yes.
the ones that have to do it.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
I would totally
Is
do
there
that.
something that happened on your season, or I don't know, anything that happened that wasn't on the actual show that was memorable, or that you sticks with you, or that you think about, or that people should
Yes.
know?
Well,
Yes.
one is the camping. I mean, there is a YouTube, but they didn't. The YouTube video doesn't show like everything we did. Like, we were throwing footballs and we were in the water, and like it was so nice. And even at nighttime, we would just sit in a circle and just talk, telling stories. And some stories were more personal than others, so it really opened up our eyes to like other people. Like, wow, you didn't know you went through that, or I didn't know you had that same experience I did. So that was so nice.
There was in, was it London? The spiral stairs, or Scotland?
That was London.
oh, I heard about that.
So yeah, we after the cake, if you guys remember, we did the whole challenge of the cake. We had to go to the orbit.
That's what
it
it's
was
called. Yeah.
We had to go to the orbit and climb like
Go
1,000
up
and
the
something
steps.
steps.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were like in this huge fight.
Like, our fight isn't as they really made
Thank
it
God
look
they didn't show
simple.
that, because we were just like,
It was
nasty.
bad, especially at the orbit. Like, we're
At the
going up the
orbit.
stairs. She's cursing me off. I'm telling her to give me her bag because her knee's hurting already.
I'm cramping.
And
And it
she's
was
like,
just,
keep going. Don't talk to me. Like, it was so bad. And it was raining. It was cold. It was slippery going up those steps. And then we had to go back down.
we couldn't take the elevator. And that really just,
They didn't show that. I'm like, we ran up these steps for
For
no
nothing?
damn reason. They didn't even show it.
That's
They
right.
didn't even show it. What the
Yeah.
hell?
I would have liked to have seen how all the other teams did that challenge because it was
You had to have your bag. You couldn't leave it at the bottom of the steps. You had to carry your bag
it
with
was
you.
a lot. It was hard. So that was one thing where I'm like, damn it. why
I'm
didn't they
actually
show this?
happy though that they didn't show it because we were so mean to each other. I'm like, what is mom gonna think? She's gonna be very
Your
disappointed.
mom's gonna be like, "Oh, I raised these two girls. I know what this is."
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
And I
part of me
think-
wishes that they would show like the down moments with teams. Like I loved that bonus clip on the Amazing Races YouTube channel of all of you sitting around the fire and putting up your tents when you went camping on the river. Like we had so many moments like that on our season, which, you know, I think a lot of people are surprised to hear how close our cast is because of the drama that did play out in the episodes. But we had so many wonderful down moments in
Yeah.
airports where it wasn't race mode. It was just people connecting with people. And we had so many great times that I just wish would have been, you know, showed on the show.
Yeah.
But for the
Yeah.
drama's sake,
So
I
many
get why.
cards.
Lots of spoons.
Lots
Yeah.
of spoons, lots of games. We all would sit in big circles in the airport playing like categories. It was
Mhm.
so fun.
We got a magic show one day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Crisscross or
Oh,
Chris,
yeah, the Chris something.
crisscross or Chris.
Not Chris.
Yeah, it's crisscross.
Crisscross.
I wish they also would have shown in Scotland when we were not sure what it is we were gonna do
Or
because
even when we
of
were
the
told.
pandemic.
Yeah.
There was so
Oh.
much like, what are we doing? And since we were all in the same floor, right next to each other in the hotel rooms, we would literally open up the doors and kind of be like, "Hey, you know anything?" Or
Have you heard anything? At one
Kinda-
point, we left the doors open and we kind of all started like throwing notes at each other and like talking. And I remember they're like, "Well, you guys can't leave your rooms," and we're like, "Technically, we're inside the room. The door's just open."
That was crazy. I can't believe you guys went through that on your season.
So
like,
crazy.
yeah,
leaving and coming back. Wow.
Which actually, if you think about it, yes, it was an advantage because we were able to prepare, but we had a little taste of the intensity that the race actually, you know, how hard it is and the anxiety level. So I remember I'm like, oh God, we're going back to this anxious, you know, I
Yep.
know the state of like the levels of anxiety
do we
that we
want to
had.
go back? And of
Oh
course,
yeah,
we're like,
yeah. The anxiety. I was constant. Like felt like your stomach's always in a knot, and especially like when you're about to run for the first challenge and they're like doing the countdown in the airports. Like my stomach would be in knots.
Yeah.
So I,
You
could,
know,
I don't even.
The best way for me to describe that feeling, that like that nervous, anxious feeling is, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but when you've caught your boyfriend cheating on you or your significant other, you get that weird where it's like, what is it?
Yeah.
That's
When you
how I
go
would
off,
feel
Feels your
sometimes.
breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we
Yeah.
gonna be doing? Like that.
It's
Yeah.
so intimidating.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I've never. That's never happened to me.
Well,
She's
lucky
like,
you,
I don't know
honey.
what they're talking about.
lucky you.
I know there's also been a lot of talk on social media with this season about, you know, not having any U-turns. So I'm curious from y'all's perspective, if there had been U-turns, would people have used them? Would it had helped at all? Like, I'm just curious if U-turns would have made a difference in the race, do you think?
We were surprised that there were no U-turns.
Well, we don't know if there is U-turns because we left like 8.
That's right. I don't know what happens in the next
9, 10, and
9.
I don't know if there
Yeah.
will be
or there
um,
isn't.
but I wish there
That
would
would
have
have
been in this leg.
Little
Yeah.
equalizer.
Yeah, I think it was known. Oh, I don't know if it was known, but I know that if there would have been a U-turn for leg 8, it was definitely going to be used. And it was going to be used on, unfortunately, Arun and Natalia. I love them to pieces. You don't understand. I love them.
Like, I'll call Arun up.
You
to
called him
vent.
yesterday.
I called him yesterday to vent or to like
but
have his opinion
I
on
think
stuff.
it was something that was thrown out there. There was a lot of talk too. There was a lot of trash talking, and so we're kind of like, you know, what's going on, and are you sure? Are you? Because we always went in saying we're not gonna U-turn anybody.
Oh.
But when things came down to like the top 4, the top 5, that's when we were kind of like, well, I don't know.
Like we had discussed it, like if if we make it to the top 3 and there is a U-turn, we have to use it because it's
Yeah.
top 3. You know, like anything goes. But besides that, we had said no. Let's
U-turning
we don't
anybody.
need to. We don't need to. But then, you know, throughout the race, things change and, you know,
Oh,
it gets
yeah.
more intense.
and you don't know what's happening.
And you don't know what to believe too, because people are like, no, we're gonna U-turn them. No, we're not gonna do it. So it's kind of like
It's a mind game.
it's a mind
At
game,
this point.
really.
For
It's a mind
sure.
game. Everybody thought Dusty and Ryan. I mean, I'm sure they would have been U-turned for sure, 100%.
sure.
Or even Kim and Penn. I mean, they've been the strongest thus far. You know, you want to bring them down, right? It's $1 million, but being the way that you saw we ran the race,
Probably wouldn't have
we
U-turned
would've-
anybody.
I don't think I would have had the heart to do
Probably
it.
would've turned.
Surprise yourself when
Yeah.
you get to that board and you don't know what's going on, you don't know who's behind you. You'll surprise yourself when it comes to using it.
Yeah.
I can totally see you girls pulling it out if you had to.
We yielded Leon
Yes.
and Marlon,
Yes.
our best friends in the race.
And we
were
turned
like,
Frank and Jerry to
"Sorry."
save them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like if you know like it's either you or another team in the race, like you just don't even think about it. You're just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like if it
Right.
gives you more time, you just do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what this next rock episode is all
Oh
about.
yes.
Because
Talk about
we've heard some things, but we don't really know because
Yeah.
we weren't there. But it looks like
It's going to be
it was
intense.
pretty stressful. I mean,
Oh,
super stressful.
that looks hard.
especially with the needle in a haystack type challenge when they're flipping over the rocks.
Rocks.
Oh
They're
my
going to be
God.
in Greece again for another leg on the next episode where racers are going to leave no stone unturned while looking for their next clue. It definitely looks very dramatic.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the tension build a little bit more.
And I'm
Um,
excited to see the outcome, like who's first, who's second, who's third, like what happens here.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a little shakeup.
I know. And that one looks like an equalizer too. That looks like it's anybody's game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 We heard the drama. We don't know the outcome. So I'm going to be very.
And I don't want to know because we could easily just call them up and be like, "Hey, what happened here? Who came in first?" But I
Yeah.
kind of want to
Yeah.
be surprised myself
Yeah.
with that episode, just to be, now we're gonna be watching it. So,
Viewers.
yeah, we're gonna be viewers now. So it looks intense.
Very intense.
I'm
Uh,
excited.
We're definitely gonna know who has the most patience.
yeah.
Yeah.
For this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Before we wrap up this recap, I know we mentioned it briefly, but y'all are hosting a finale party in Miami, and I know there's tickets that are being sold. So any fans of the show want to come. Is that correct?
So all previous racers, you guys are welcome to come. You don't have to buy anything. You guys will be under VIP with all of us. And yeah, $20 to get in, and there's gonna be special guests.
There's gonna be other.
There's gonna be a performance as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's at the Guitar Hotel in Hollywood, New Jersey, really Hollywood, Florida, and it's just I'm excited just to be around around the cast.
Yeah,
really.
it's gonna be a reunion. Even like Kara and Ray that they weren't able to come back. They're gonna be there.
Anthony's
gonna be there.
Fun.
Coach is gonna be there. Connie, we're still not sure because of the baby. But
Right.
everyone will be back, and it's gonna be fun. And we wanted to do this because of the season and the stopping of it and the pandemic and all that.
everybody had a tough 2020 and trying to get life back together in 2021. We're like, we need to do something, and
Let's just
although
have
it's-
fun.
yeah, let's just have fun and just
Put
party
something
it up.
together, watch the season finale, and just be together and have fun.
Yeah.
Reminisce, take pictures, and create
The
more
reunions
memories.
are the best.
Oh yeah.
I
Yes.
live for our reunions.
I'm itching for another.
Same.
And I want to go to
I
your
know.
Now I want to go to yours. Yeah.
Come, definitely come. It'll
Come.
be fun.
Yeah.
It will be
Love it.
fun.
Well, thank you so much, Lulu and Lala, for joining us with this recap. And we loved hearing about your experience and your perspective on watching it back. And Haley and Kaylynn, we just love and adore you too. And
Love you
always
guys.
love to see your faces or any excuse to see y'all.
Thank you. Love to be back.
Yes, and now we
Always
have new friends, Lulu and
I
Lala.
know. Hopefully,
Yes.
we
So
can
fun.
come
You girls
It
are
was-
the best.
I know.
Thank
Love to
you.
see y'all.
And
Likewise.
we enjoyed watching you guys, do your thing on the race. And thank you for having us. And you guys, I just want to hang out.
I know.
Let's be
We're going to
friends.
talk
Yeah.
about like some real story, like some real stuff.
Yes.
About some real stories.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you everyone for watching our recap. And of course, shout out to Logan from RTV Warriors and the Supakuwaki blog. He has a list of all of the recaps that are going on this season, and there is quite a few. It's a lengthy list. I think there's up to like 22, 23
God.
different recaps just for this
Wow.
season alone. So if you want to have a good resource of other, recaps to listen to, definitely check out that blog because it's very detailed and has great, reasons to listen to different podcasts.
And Lulu and Lala, y'all do one as well, right?
Yep.
Yes, it's actually out already. We give our point of view and basically we relive everything that went down in our perspective. So if you can't check it out, and thank you for everybody that's watching as well. Logan,
And for all
follow.
those recaps, that's pretty neat to see other people's point of view. And thanks for having us once again. Love you guys.
Of course. Oh my gosh,
Love you guys.
Love y'all too. And thanks again, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.